Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video, and I also want to thank you for your support. For those of you that have been subscribing, watching my videos, I really thank you for the support. Alright, so in this video I'll be teaching you how to draft a basic skirt pattern. Okay, this is a basic skirt. You can use this basic skirt to create any design of skirt that you want. You can even join it to your bodice to form a dress, alright, a gown. Okay, so you can use this pattern of skirt to cut any design of skirt that you want, be it 6 pieces, mermaid skirts, and any design of skirt that you want. Even flare, you can use it to create it. Okay, so for this class I'll be using my pattern paper, my marker pen, my scissors if I want to cut, and of course a straight ruler, then my hip curve. Alright, so these are the materials that I'll be using for this class. Of course, my tape measure, which is not left out. So we'll be going to it now. These are the measurements that I'll be using for this class. Okay, I'll be using the waist of 29, the hip of 40, and my waist to hip, which is 8, and then the skirt length of 25. Okay, 25 inches. Alright, then I've already gotten my margin, the margin of my paper. This is it. Like I always tell you, it's good to get the margin if you want to always refer to this pattern paper. Okay, so that is the advantage of creating your pattern. You can use it, you can always refer back to it to make any design that you want to create. Okay, then I've also gotten my center margin. This is the green line. Okay, so we'll be centralizing everything we are going to do here. Alright, so but before I start, I'll be getting my skirt box where I'll be drafting my skirt. Okay, because it's not going to take up all of this. So but for me to get the box I'll be using my hip measurement. It will not have any ease allowance. Alright, just my hip measurement. Okay, so my hip value is 40. So getting the box, I'll be dividing it by 2, which is 20. Alright, because I'm just creating it like a half bodice. Okay, so it's just one side for the back and one side for the front. Okay, so if you want to cut it now on fabric, you can decide to fold just to make it bigger. Alright, like a full bodice, but this is a half bodice, so that is why I'm dividing it by 2. Okay, which is 20. My 40 divided by 2 will give me 20. So I'll be knocking out the 20 on this pattern paper, but first I'll centralize the 20 here. Alright, so centralizing my 20 here, I'll have 10 as my middle. So I'll be placing 10 on this middle line. Alright, and then mark out my 20 inches on both sides. I'll mark 10 from here, that's from 0 to 10 and from 10 to 20. Alright, hope you get what I'm doing. So this is how I'll centralize my lines to form the box which I'll use as my skirt. Okay, so I've marked out my line, the box. Alright, I've gotten the box already. So I will be drafting the front here. This part will be serving as our center front. Whichever part that you want to use as your center front or center back, you can use it. Okay, so here will be serving as the center back. Alright, then like I told you, the skirt length is, I'll now impute my horizontal lines. My skirt length is 25. Okay, 25 inches. I'll mark it out. We are not removing band. I will show you how to create your band. Okay, I'm adding everything here, but if you want to remove your band, you can determine the band height that you want to use and then remove it before marking out your horizontal lines. But here I'm not removing band. I'll show you how to draft your band separately. Okay, so I'll mark out my skirt length, and then my waist to hip line, I'll also mark it out. I'll be using 8 inches for myself. Waist to hip line, I will mark it out. These are the 3 horizontal lines that I will be using for this class: the waistline, the waist to hip line, and my hemline. Okay, waistline, hip line, and hemline. Alright, and I've shown you how to get all these lines. Now I've marked it out, so I'll now be imputing my values. Okay, here, this is pure pattern. You can always refer to this pattern. Here are my lines, so I'll impute my values. Now here is the side part, this is the center, right? This is the side. Okay, I already have my hip measurements as here. Okay, so we won't be marking out the hip again. I'll only put my waist measurement. My waist measurement is 29. If I divide it by 4, I will have 7 and quarter. Alright, I'll have 7 and quarter. I will mark the points, then I'll add 1 inch for my dart. Alright, I will also show you how to create a dartless skirt. Okay, if you don't want that, but it's always good to add your dart. But if you don't want to make a dartless skirt, you can just remove the dart by folding it. Alright, so for the back, I'll also mark out the same value, my waist value, and also the dart allowance. Okay, so I will connect it to the hip line like so. I'll use my hip curve and connect like so. I hope you can see how I placed my French curve, not like this, because this is where our hip is. So you are not supposed to place it like so. You just place it like this so that it will give it that shape. Alright, so I'll also mark out this side. Okay, I've connected already. So I'll mark out the darts now. I'll be using my bust span as a guide. My bust span, I'll be using it as a guide, which is, I have 7 for myself. Using that 7, I'll be using it 7/2, which is 3, half of the bust span, which is 3. So 3.5, sorry. I'll mark out my 3.5. Then I'll place the dart leg on both sides. Okay, which is half. Removing half on both sides, which is the one that I added. I'll also mark out the bust span here on the hip line. Then I'll connect it in a straight line, but it's not supposed to get to the hip line. I'll come up by 2 inches. For the front dart, I'll come up by 2 inches from my hip line. Okay, 2 inches from the hip line. That is where our front dart will stop. Alright, 2 inches from the hip line. I'll also mark out the 3.5 so that I will centralize it. Okay, so I will mark out my dart leg like so. Can you see what I did? Alright, so for the back part, I'll also mark out my bust span divided by 2, which is 3.5. From the hip line, my dart will stop 3 inches above the hip line for the back. Alright, 3 inches above. Okay, so I'll mark it out like so, and then also centralize it using my bust span. divide by 2. I'll also mark the dart leg on both sides, half inch, and then I'll connect like so. This is how it's done. All right, so for the front, on this side, for the front, I'll come up by half inch. Then I'll raise the side line by half, connect it to the other dart leg, to this first dart leg, like so. Can you see what I did? Then I'll take the front part, I'll come down on the front line, I'll come down by half also, and then connect it to the second dart leg, or I'll fold in my darts to blend it well. I'll fold in my darts like so, and then blend. Can you see what I'm doing? So this is it. Can you see? Alright, so this is for a straight skirt. But if I want to make a pencil skirt, I'll be contouring the down part. Alright, so I can decide what I want to remove. I can decide to remove 4 inches from this pattern. Alright, 4 inches both from the front and from the back. That's 2 from front and 2 from the back. Okay, so if I'm removing 4 inches, I'll remove 2 from the side front and then 2 from the side back. Also, if I want to remove 3 inches, I'll remove 1.5 from both sides. Alright, so from the I've already marked out my 2 inches on both sides. Then on the hip line, I'll come down by 2 inches before I'll connect it. Okay, so I'll connect it like so. Can you see? Then this is the front. This is for a basic skirt. There are other alterations that I can do to this pattern. Alright, if I want to contour it more, especially the back part. Alright, but this is for a basic skirt. Then for the side back, so that it will blend with this front, I'll also come up by half inch. Alright, for the side, I'll also come up by half so that it will blend. Then I'll connect it to this dart line, to the first dart leg, like so. Okay, so the two sides will now blend well. As you can see, our skirt is ready, almost ready. Then for the back, I can decide to add my zip allowance on this pattern. Okay, or I can decide to add it on my fabric, but let me add it and show you. This 1 inch for the zip allowance, I'll mark it out 1 inch. Alright, I've marked out my zip allowance. Can you see? This is zip allowance, but I added 1 inch. Alright, for my zip allowance. Also, I can add I'll mark out my vent or slit. Alright, so from the waistline, I will measure my knee, from my waist to knee, where I want the vent to stop. You can decide where you want it to get to. Alright, I can mark it on 18 inches if it's going to be okay for me. Alright, so I'll mark it on 18 inches. Then I'll come out by 1 inch. Alright, so the vent is supposed to be 1 inch. I'll mark it and show you. Okay, so I'm marking out the 1 inch for this is serving as the vent or slit. Okay, so this is my slit. Can you see? Can you see? This is the slit. Okay, So and here is the zip allowance. Now if I want to cut it on fabric, I will just add half inch that I will use it and sew. Alright, that I will use and sew it. Then for the side, I'll add either 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Alright, as you can see, I've taken out here as that. Then I can decide to, on this pattern, add my hem allowance, or I can leave it and add it on my pattern. Alright, but if I want to add it on this, on my fabric, but if I want to add my hem allowance on this pattern, I'll just add 2 inches on for it. Okay, so I'll add 2 inches like so, and then mark it out. This is where it's going to stop. So I've marked out my hem. This is serving as the hem line. Alright, our hem, I'll fold here. If I'm done sewing, I'll just fold it. Same with the front. Okay, if you notice what I did here, I gave it a little slanting shape that is going out from this straight line. Alright, the essence of doing this is that when I want to fold it, it will also blend on this line. There won't be shortage here. Okay, but if I did it straight, when I want to sew it, there will be shortage around here. Alright, so it's always good to do it like this. As you can see, our pattern is ready. Okay, I'll cut it out and show you. You can use this pattern for any design that you want to create. Alright, you can just work on it, alter it, and then use it to create whatever design that you want to use it. So I'm cutting out my pattern like so. I'm cutting it out. So this is how you cut it. I'll have to do this off the camera so that our video won't be too long. Okay, so as you can see, I've cut out my pattern. As you can see, our pattern is ready for use. Alright, can you see? This is the back, this is the front, this is the front. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also comment on this video. If you have any question for me, please do subscribe and like this video. Okay, and also share my channel so that other people can see this video and also learn. Alright, thank you for watching.